Okay, so welcome everyone to this talk of tonight on disappointment and letting go of disappointment. I've prepared two EFT sequences to tap through disappointment. So on the one hand, to first let it go, and then of course to invite new energy to yourself, to your life and to your heart. My name is Irina Nolte. I'm a holistic life coach. Really in a nutshell, I studied international politics and had a burnout when I was rather young, and then studied shiatsu and holistic healing, many different modalities. At first, just to help myself, but then I was so convinced by it that I gently and slowly dedicated my life to it. And EFT, the emotional freedom technique, is one of the key tools that I use. EFT also stands for tapping. So in a minute, if you've never done this before, we will be tapping on acupuncture points in the face and on the body. And there are countless scientific studies that show that by tapping acupuncture points, these acupuncture points, cortisol levels in your body lower decidedly, which means cortisol, of course, is the fear and stress hormone. So you're going to see by tapping these points, generally it has like a really calming effect on the body. And with regard to past events or also future events, you have the event here and your emotional attachment to it, and through EFT you get a distance, so you have a lot more space and you have a lot more agency. So let's just say a word or two about disappointment. I find it appropriate to talk about disappointment in winter because obviously, at least here in this hemisphere, it's the days are the shortest, the night is the longest. And so it's a wonderful moment to turn inwards and to really kind of like assess what's going on within you and also see what happened last year. I'm not a great believer of setting great lofty goals for the next year, because it's not because the day changes that we can shift in persona, right? We're still our good old selves. So, but what we can do is try to like unveil patterns, unveil or recognize repetitive patterns that appear in our life and that don't bring us the results that we're looking for, right? In other words, disappointment. A disappointment is when we had an expectation for something to happen in our life and it didn't come, either because we didn't do something or just, it just didn't happen. And so the feeling can be terrible. Disappointment can be a terrible feeling. And so here in this moment, we can use the night and the darkness of the winter to shed some light into our inner world and to really bring out that story or that pain, and look at it and hold it differently. And this is what today's session is all about. We all get disappointed. Everyone gets disappointed in life. It's part of life. It's part of growth. And I think it's actually a vehicle for us to grow. We can use disappointment because paradoxically, I think, well, what I always try to tell myself is that disappointment is like a process of alchemy, in which we have to use the pain of the disappointment to then kind of be transformed into something else that is unknown to us, but towards which we're growing. Unfortunately, however, when we are faced with disappointment, very often our reaction can be to self-blame ourselves, to self-criticize, just to turn all this anger inward, with the risk of becoming bitter and spiteful and angry at others. And of course that's what we don't want at all. Bitterness and anger turned inwards really reduces our life and kind of shrinks us in who we really are. And it stops the inherent flow of life, that comes through us and lives within us. So I just love the idea that, we're all imbued by love, the love of life, love is relentless. Love always wants us to grow and to transform. And disappointment in particular can be dangerous in the sense that it can break that flow, it can stop us. And yeah, and from then we withdraw, and we disengage with life. Maybe we even use things like social media or watch films or whatever, and we go to sleep. Essentially, we go to sleep, and we no longer reach for the stars, so to speak. And not that your daily life you constantly have to reach for the stars, but by reaching for the stars, I don't mean seek fame or anything like that, but that you celebrate your own sacred self. I think so often we forget that we're all sacred, and that life is sacred, and that we stay connected to that magic, in our heart and in our lives and in our dreams. So if possible, then maybe we can hold disappointment as a root growing process. If you think about a plant, let's say a plant is growing and it's a rather thin, shaky plant, you might cut the branches. And I think at first the plant feels disappointed, but then maybe with time the roots get stronger. And as a result, then it grows differently, I remember when I studied in the UK, I was doing my master's degree, and I couldn't do it. I had panic attacks, I had anxiety, and I had terrible insomnia, and I couldn't, it was just too much for me. I was working on the side, and so I decided to go part-time on the master's degree. I didn't stop it, but I just went part-time. And I remember standing there in front of the university, and I felt like I'm just going to say it, I felt like such a loser. I was looking at all the other students who were able to go full-time, and I had to take a step back, and I felt ashamed, and I felt, shame. In shame, we feel so diminished. We feel worth less than others. And but of course, what then happened is that time and energy opened up for me to study shiatsu, and I went in a completely different way. And so, I find it so important to not to underestimate the gift that can be behind disappointment. There's this nice saying, which you probably all know, which comes from Buddhism, which says, "No mud, no lotus." Right? So the lotus generally grows in quite murky waters, and so if you don't have the mud, if you don't have the debris and that which you had to leave behind, then often you don't have the fertile ground for the flower to grow. And I have another saying that I really love. It says, "Life's rejection is God's protection." I'll say it one more time. Life's rejection is God's protection. I love that, because it takes away, it kind of points to the fact that, there might be a higher purpose and a different plan behind it all, which helps us surrender maybe a little bit and feel that we have to control less. All right, so what we'll do today then is we're going to do some EFT, some emotional freedom technique. Now, I don't know who's in the room. I'm not going to check. I assume most of you have done EFT, but for those of you who are newcomers, I'm just going to demonstrate the points. So in EFT, in the emotional freedom technique, what we do is we tap on acupuncture points. And the points are as follows. First of all, on the side of your hand. So you find your little finger, and there's a bone, and then it's under the bone in the soft part. Then we tap between the eyebrows, next to the eyes, under the eyes, under the nose, under the mouth, and on the clavicle.
Ja, op hebben we
Yeah. And on the head. And I'm just going to ask everyone to please mute yourselves already. On the head. These are the points, and we do them over and over again. I do them with you. You don't have to panic. Just follow and just, just relax into the process. So, yeah, before we start, I would like you to just to relax wherever you are. Just if you're sitting on a chair, place both feet on the ground. If you're sitting, in your couch or something with crossed legs, that's okay. Just lean back. And at first, receive a few deep breaths in and out, all the way into your belly. Deep breaths in and out. And I want you to just scan your life or the last year and pick something that you feel particularly disappointed about. You know, something that you didn't get, something that didn't work out, something or someone that you lost, you know, some situation that somehow didn't go according to the plan you thought you had. And I want you to just become aware of what you feel around that issue. So let's say you had an argument with a friend, for example, I just invent something now. And then perhaps you feel some tension in the heart. Maybe there's some sadness or something. Locate it in your body. Where do you feel the disappointment? Is it like, maybe it's like something stabbing into your heart. Maybe it's like someone who hit into your stomach. Maybe it's a heaviness in the chest. I feel disappointment in my heart, so it's here in the heart region. Might be different for you. Maybe there are some words that you couldn't speak that are still stuck in your throat. You know, whatever it is, it's fine and it's yours and it's correct. So I want you to find the event that you would like to tap on. I want you to find the emotion that you feel around it. Then please find the location in your body of the unpleasant emotion. So let's say it's sadness in the heart. And then I want you to scale it on a scale from 0 to 10. If 10 is very strong, how strongly do you feel it? How strong is that disappointment? So for example, a 6 out of 10 or something. And you can either write it down or I want you to make a mental note of it. Why do we do this? We do it so that you have something to compare, right? We're going to go into a tapping meditation now in a minute. And hopefully, and rather likely, you will feel different when you come out of it. The reason we do this is, like, I see it a bit as a spring clean. You know, we're in winter and soon the spring will come. And it's a bit like, if we can let go of that disappointment, we create new space for something within us. You know, we can invite new beliefs, new events, new things. So I find disappointment has a really sticky energy and it takes a lot of space, doesn't it, in our inner world? And it's kind of like this, it's almost like an uninvited guest to your house, or, you know, this lodger who suddenly lives in your apartment or in your house that, you know, you don't actually want to have there or be there. And yet he or she is constantly there. So, you know, humbly and with love, let's ask that friend to leave. Let's ask disappointment to leave, and we'll do that in a minute. All right. So again, let me just say it one more time. Find the event that you feel disappointed about. Find the emotion in your body, locate it, and scale it from 0 to 10. And now we're going to start to tap with EFT. So please copy me. And everyone has muted themselves, yeah? Okay. So please all mute yourselves and then we start. So tapping on the side of your hand, and it doesn't matter if it's your left hand or the right hand. Yeah, you can switch them. Meridians are always congruent in the body. Okay, so please repeat with me. Tapping on the side of the hand. Okay. Even though I feel all this disappointment. Sorry, someone is not muted. And could everyone please mute themselves? Chat. 1 second. Can everyone please mute themselves? Thank you. Okay. So even though I feel all this disappointment, when I think about my life, I honor how I feel. Even though I hoped that things would turn out differently, I honor how I feel. Even though I had this hope, this vision or dream, and it didn't come true, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel all this sadness and pain around this disappointment. 1 second, I'm just gonna. Okay, even though I feel all this sadness and pain around this disappointment, I am open to letting it go. Okay, now we tap between the eyebrows. All this disappointment next to the eyes, because this happened. And you're thinking of your issue, right? Everyone thinks of their own issue. Under the eyes, because this happened or didn't happen in my life. Under the nose, I had other plans. Under the mouth, I feel like life let me down. Clavicle, all these regrets. On the head, I tend to blame myself. Between the eyebrows, I should have known better. To the eyes, these hopes and dreams. Under the eyes, lie heavy in my heart. Under the nose, and I feel defeated in this issue. Under the mouth, or angry or sad. Now, I want everyone to focus on their own issue of disappointment, right? Just think about whatever you feel disappointed about, you know, the thing that happened, the thing that didn't happen. How did you feel about it? You know, just watch yourself. Maybe you sit at home, you think about it. You have all this pain, all this disappointment in your heart, in your body. And we're just going to continue tapping on the head. You can keep your eyes closed. If they're closed, I'll lead you through it. And just repeat with me, all of this happened. Stay with your issue and tap between the eyebrows. All of this happened. Next to the eyes, I can't believe that all of this happened. Under the eyes, all of this happened. Under the nose, all of this happened. Under the mouth, all this disappointment. Clavicle, all this disappointment. On the head, all of this happened. Between the eyebrows, but I don't want to be discouraged by this story. Next to the eyes, I no longer want to identify with this disappointment. Under the eyes, I no longer want to resonate with this disappointment. Under the nose, I no longer want to connect to this story. under the mouth. I will not let it define who I am. Perhaps there's a way of releasing this story. On the head, I am open to releasing this story from my life. Between the eyebrows, I will not be defined by this disappointment. Next to the eyes, I am so tired of this old tune. Under the eyes, I'm inviting a new and fresh version of myself. Under the nose, I am open for a new narrative in this new year. Under the mouth, I now embrace a greater version of myself. Letting go of this disappointment. On the head, maybe there's a bigger purpose. Between the eyebrows, maybe there's a bigger purpose. Next to the eyes, I choose to trust the process of life. Under the eyes, letting go of any remaining tension. Under the nose, letting go of any remaining pain. Under the mouth, I will not be held back. Clavicle, I choose to embrace life with open arms. On the head, I am open to the infinite good of the universe. Okay, receive a deep breath in. Okay, so I once learned some beautiful power questions, so-called power questions, right? And if you want, you can write them down and then hang them up somewhere where you see them in the morning. Because, you know, we have some days when we get up and we're just like, like the heaviness, you know, of the world is on our shoulders and we don't really feel all that great. And so the you know, questions that really activate our resourcefulness and our gratitude and our sense of gratitude in life is, for instance, the question, what is great about my situation right now? So regardless of how disappointed you are, regardless of how pissed off you are with life, you know, if you ask yourself, okay, I don't feel good with these aspects in life, but what is great about my situation right now? You know, there might be one thing, you know, for instance, I don't know, you have half an hour time in the afternoon and you can go for a walk in the beautiful snow. You know, you have that freedom, for instance. It can be very small things. But if you keep on asking yourself, what is great about my situation right now? It's going to help you shift more into agency. Then the second question is, what simple step can I take today to make my life better? What simple step can I take today to make my life better? Maybe you make yourself a fruit salad. Maybe you cook a beautiful soup for yourself and then you have a nice home cooked meal. You know, maybe you make that one call to a friend that you've been putting off for a long time. Just one little thing. These, you know, little changes make a big difference. Okay, so now we enter the second round. And obviously, so you're going to have the recording. I'll put it on YouTube. You can go back to it. So, you know, some of you were on quite high numbers, on a 10 or on an 8. You might want to repeat the sequence, you know, like forgiveness is a process. And I think disappointment and forgiveness are interlinked. And we need to forgive life and we need to forgive ourselves over and over again Otherwise, it gets such sticky business, you know? So maybe the sequence we did before can help you. And if you have a lot of pain in your heart, I really recommend that you do this daily to really get things moving, you know? And you're going to see it's going to shift with time. Whatever you feel angry or disappointed or hurt about, if you keep on tapping, it shifts, it energetically shifts. Okay, so let's do the second round. And so I invite you to tap again, and please all mute yourselves. I think everyone is muted. Okay, so tapping on the side of the hand and in the second round. Even though, and again, you focus on the issue you want to let go of and forgive and, you know, release the disappointment. Okay, tapping on the side of the hand. Even though all of this happened, I choose to forgive life. Again, on the side of the hand. Even though all of this happened, I choose to forgive myself and everyone involved. Even though all of this happened and it really hurt, I am open for a new narrative. Between the eyebrows, I want to move forward. Next to the eyes, and focus on something else. Under the eyes, where my focus goes, under the nose, my energy goes. Under the mouth, letting go of this focus on disappointment. Clavicle, letting go of this focus on regret. On the head, I allow myself to take a step forward. Between the eyebrows, leaving the past behind. Next to the eyes, there are so many things I can be grateful for. Under the eyes, and in my heart, I can name them one by one. And just for yourself, just name 2, 3 things you feel grateful for in your life. Maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe a pet, you know, just someone you love and who loves you and you feel so tremendously grateful for. Maybe an ancestor, maybe someone who helped you in your life. Just connect to this sense of gratitude as you continue tapping. Tapping on the clavicle, tapping on the head. Just connect to the feeling of gratitude for these wonderful people who came to your life. Between the eyebrows, for these wonderful opportunities that opened up. Next to the eyes, for all the things that you have achieved in life, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Under the eyes. And repeat with me. I choose to feel gratitude in my heart. Under the nose. And I connect to its many gifts. Under the mouth. Gratitude brings me to the present moment. Clavicle. And I honor everything that is. On the head. I feel proud of myself. Between the eyebrows, for everything that I managed in my life. Next to the eyes. And feel that sense of pride in your body and in your heart. 100,000 things you did well in your lifetime. Under the nose, letting go of any remaining disappointment. Under the mouth, letting go of any remaining pain. Clavicle, I am open for new inspiration. On the head, I am open for the infinite love of the universe. And receive a deep breath in and breathe out.